You can find no better illustration of the difference between a left-wing and what you might term a right-wing attitude to the Trump conviction than to look at these two headlines, one in The Guardian and one in the New York Post. The Guardian has it this way: Trump was convicted of 34 felonies. So that just tells you what Trump was convicted of. And the next thing is, what is Biden's next move? Straight on to Biden. Trump is a convict. Now let's talk about Biden. The New York Post has it slightly differently. Here's what happens after Trump's guilty verdict in hush money trial. And from the way the New York Post puts it, not much, actually. Apparently, it's not going to, this sort of thing does not attract a prison sentence in any case, at least according to the New York Post. Okay, well, let's talk about this Trump conviction. I'm Granniopteryx. So Trump's followers believe that the whole thing is political and it has nothing to do with the law or guilt or anything. Whether that's right or wrong, there is little doubt that politics is playing a part in this. For instance, the Clintons, they have been, there's never been a court trial so far as I know, but there's all sorts of talk about misconduct on the part of the president and hush-hush stuff. But the mainstream media doesn't seem terribly interested in, not in the way they're interested in the Trump business, and nor are the various lawyers interested in pursuing him in that way. On the other hand, that could have something to do with the remarkably high statistics with regard to all sorts of early deaths associated with people who have fallen foul of the Clintons, you know, suicides, accidents, simple heart attacks, that sort of thing. There seem to be a fair amount of them. And the prospect of this, warranted or not, hanging over anyone who, as I said, has fallen foul of the Clintons, might give investigative journalists and interested lawyers pause for thought. Anyway, what interested me most was the comment by Robert De Niro, who said this.
Yesterday was Memorial Day. It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us by a democratic government. A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave.
Now, he was reading from a script there, and I'm not entirely sure that he wrote the script. Well, he's an actor, but he slipped up here. I want to show you where he slipped up. Let's just go through the beginning of that.
Yesterday was Memorial Day. It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us.
Right. Did you hear that break? Let's just listen to it. Fought and died. Now, the natural way of putting this would be Americans who fought and died, not fought and died. That's the next line. That's why there was the break there. And that means that he wasn't, this isn't his words. And he's just coming across this as he's reading it now.
Yesterday was Memorial Day. It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and die so that we may...
That's not a natural way of talking. So somebody is, I wouldn't say paying him to say this script, but possibly encouraging him to do that. So there's a, that this is of course just my speculation. All right. And that, what he was saying is also very reminiscent of a Lincoln project, or I suppose in America you call that a project, video which was circulating in the run-up to the 2020 election. It featured a dark, underlit apartment with an obviously heartsick mother consoling her puzzled child about Trump's fourth term in office. When I saw that advert at the time, the word projection popped straight into my mind. Popped? No, it galloped in with bugles and flags. So, yes, I was thinking, what would it take for a president to make himself president for life? Well, he'd need the army behind him, wouldn't he? He'd need the National Guard, he'd need the entire civil service and all the governors of all the states. Could that happen in the USA? Well, I'd say that it was an impossibility. Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't think it's even possible. So the scenario that De Niro is coming up with is like a sort of science fiction scenario. And it's a script that's been written by someone, and De Niro is only too glad to read it out. What we have here is hysteria. This is De Niro 5 years ago. This is why I think he's the sort of person they could have said, look, we've got something that you should read out. And he's the sort of person they would go to because of this.
Robert De Niro.
I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump.
Just look at those happy faces. Look at all those people cheering and clapping him. He's an actor. This is what he lives for. When he sees that, this only confirms what he thinks, or, well, what passes through his mind as thought. Anyway, here, let's carry on. Look at him receiving and putting back the dynamic in the crowd. And here they are, all standing up. Look at them.
It's no longer down with Trump, it's fuck Trump.
If ever I hear of something, the expression raising the rafters, that was it. He brought down the house on this one. And why should he change his mind when he's getting that sort of feedback loop from all his friends and colleagues and, well, jobs? The cheering, the crowd, the solidarity, the affirmation. It's Tinseltown, remember. These are all people who make up stories for a living. And as their society crumbles around them, drug addicts evacuating their bowels on the streets in Los Angeles, running gun battles in Chicago. In Seattle, your chance of being victim of crime is 1 in 15. And they all have to find some answer to the clash between their political vision and the reality. And that answer is Donald Trump. So they found him guilty of everything they want to ignore. They passed their verdict 5 years ago. But as is being said by Trump supporters, the real verdict will happen in November. Okay, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.